Om Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyan Nijantargatam Pashyannatmani Mayaya Bharevo Bhutan Yatha Nidraya Yasakshat Kurute Prabodha Samaye Swatmanamevadvayam Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namahidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Bijasyantarivangkuro jagatidam prangnirvikalpam punaha maya kalpita deshakala kalana vaichitra chitrikrutam maya viva vijumbhayatya vimaha yogi vayasvechaya tasmai shri guru murtaye namahidam shri dakshinamurtaye Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namah Shri Dakshinamurtaye Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Sadashikasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sangha Padakramo Parishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavasthita Tankritena Manasa Pashyanti yam yoginaha yasyantam na vidussura suragana devaya tasmai. So Vedanta and emotional maturity. Vedanta offers maturity at two levels. We'll be discussing that. But before that, let us discuss a equally fundamental question. Analyze the question, and that is, what is goal of life? So, this is a question one often definitely comes across. And you get different answers. Like if you ask me, what is the goal of life? To a Swami, if you ask me, that Swami will say, to see a God. They call it realization. To see a God, to reach to the God is a goal of life. If you ask to a theologian, they will say, first thing is you have to repent for your confession. You have to repent for your karmas, etc., of the past karmas, and ultimately then go to heaven. That's the goal of life. But it looks like one begins one's life, ends in death. Therefore, death is a goal of life. Right? Because the life ends where? Death. That's the end, ultimately. That's how we say, goal means end. So, goal of life is death. Then if death is a goal of life, then what will be my existence in death? I would not be in this form after death. Then that was the thing even before birth also. Right? I was not in this form before birth also. After death also I am going to be in the same thing. I will not be in this form. Then why should I be born? Because I will ultimately attain the state which I was before birth also. Could you follow what I am saying? And therefore, death cannot be the goal of life. Because you ultimately become non-existent kind of thing. But that was the thing even before birth also. Not at least in this form. This form was non-existent before birth. Will be non-existent after death. So therefore, death. If that is the thing, why should I be born? In order to acquire the same state which was there before birth. Death cannot be the goal of life. So I can't say heaven is a goal of life, because in that case, why are we born here? It's a readout. What you call readout, or what you call? No. So why should I come here? I should directly go to heaven. So heaven also cannot be goal of life. Well, aim must be something else in this life itself. Yeah, Swami, the biggest event in life is a marriage. Marriage is a goal of life. Well, it can be. Marriage can be a goal of life, but even married people are struggling to achieve certain other goal. This marriage itself cannot be the goal, right? So, definitely, anyway, so recently someone asked me whether marriage is a word or is it a sentence. I said it can be a meaningful word or it can be a sentence for a life. Right? So, marriage cannot be the goal, it can be the means. Marriage should be made, work together. No one can grow as a married person can grow. A single person has all chances, the person remains immature. Married person, definitely, there are opportunities to grow. You have to accommodate a lot of things, right? And therefore, it itself is a growth. That is how sannyasa comes generally after grihasthashrama. Now what about you? That answer I will give you in the evening, okay? But my point is, married people have a lot of opportunity to become mature. The maturity which we are going to talk. Physical maturity everyone gets, whether a single person or anything. Anyway, so basically, what exactly is the goal of life? Even marriage seems to be the means for some another goal. Well, it can only be living. Goal of life is living. And I am not born just for anything except to live. Please understand. So that is what we find in every organism. Like a plant, a bug, etc., a cow, they all want to live. So living is the aim of life. Nothing else. Goal of life is living. Question is, what is living? That's the thing. What is living? Can we merely say breathing in and out is living? Doesn't look like Swami. Breathing in and out is living, and that is the goal of life? No. So when we observe creation, well, we find that when an organism is born, it's not adequately mature to begin living. Like when a calf is born, definitely it is not ready to live its life fully as a cow. A calf is born with a physical body, which is a baby body. And its aim is to live, to make the life of a cow. So for which it must, well, grow to become an adult. Everyone, a cow is born as just a baby body, calf. Suppose it dies as a calf, we feel it's a waste, right? It's a waste. Means, well, living means what? It should become adult, ultimately. It is born as a baby and it should become a fully grown cow, adult, mature cow. If a cow is born to die, well, it's a waste. In order that its birth is justified, well, it has to grow to become an adult. So, but a calf does not basically require to do anything special in order to become a cow. Adult. It doesn't require special. It has just to survive. Its responsibility is to survive its own body. That's it. And the other thing is taken care of by nature. It keeps jumping around. A calf jumps around and eats grass and water, and that's it. One day it finds a physically and biologically mature adult ready to give a birth to another calf. So, and this other, if you see other organisms, like even mangoes, if you plant a mango seed, it is born as a sapling. It cannot bear fruits which you want. It has to grow to become an adult. It has to grow into a tree form, basically. So it shows that the living means to grow, to become adult. So what is called living? Living means growing, to become adult. Because everyone is born as a baby, child, baby, calf, whatever, sapling. And while it dies as a sapling, we say it's waste. Yeah. So means what? Living means what? It has to become adult. It has to grow. So once a cow becomes an adult cow, it doesn't require to do anything more to become a mature cow. It's all the way mature. I have never seen a person says, well, Swamiji, these 3 cows are there. 2 cows are physically mature, and but they are not emotionally mature. And the 3rd cow is physically, means biologically, and also emotionally mature cow. You would never say. Cow has fulfilled its purpose once it becomes an adult. The goal of life is achieved. It gives, as an adult, it gives milk, etc. It gives a birth to an offspring, etc. That's it. So its purpose is served. So anyway, so when a cow is physically, biologically adult, it doesn't have any problem psychologically. You don't take a cow to a psychiatrist. The person who is the owner may be required. A cow, you won't take it to a psychiatrist. Because we take it for granted. A physically mature cow is psychologically, emotionally also mature. All the way it is mature. So it doesn't have the problem of a human being. Basically, it doesn't have the complex that I'm a white cow, I'm a black cow, I'm shapely horned cow, I am crooked horned cow. No. But the owner of the cow definitely has complex. He wants to be the owner of a cow who is shapely horned cow. For that he pays more price. While if he wants to buy. Yeah. Somehow the characteristics of a shapely horned cow it gets reflected in that owner, looks like. Right? Yeah. Being a owner of a shapely horned cow, he feels proud. Means those horns perhaps might have get transferred imaginary here also. So we, of course, one wants to become a owner of this cow, definitely pays more price, etc. He pays the price. Human being pays the price. Please remember this. Human being pays price for his complexes. That is the only issue. It's I'm not trying to show boasting, but it's a very deep statement. These complexes are not there anywhere else in the world, in any living beings. We pay price in terms of pain and everything for our complexes. And Vedanta's job is to get rid of the complexes which are not true to the self. That's it. If you are free from complexes, your life is really beautiful. But unfortunately, more you grow, more you have complexes. A child is free from any complex. It just laughs at you. We say, Swamiji, I want to become a child. Don't say that after half an hour you will say, I don't want to become. So child is basically free, but as he grows physically, also acquire varieties of complexes. More the complexes, basically, more the pain in life. More the pain in life. I don't want to go into that, but the self which is free from any complex. Self is free from any complex. I'm a human being. Complex. I am a maid. Complex. I am a grihastha. Complex. I am a sannyasi. Complex. I am bald-headed. Complex. I am good looking, ugly looking. This, that, so much. We keep on adding, and you will add. But a human being will nothing but add because he is self-conscious. If you are self-conscious, you are going to judge yourself. But the judgment should be proper judgment. But if you don't know yourself, you will judge yourself wrongly. These are called complexes. Wrong judgment about yourself. you yourself will not like because you are not that, which is not your nature. What is not your nature, you will try to throw it out. You become free from the complexes every night. When you sleep, all joy. If a person is getting sleep, yeah. In a deep sleep state, you are very much there, but free from any complex. I have father, mother, etc. My God, how much pain as a father, how much pain as a wife, husband, you think of. Anyway, so human being pays price for his complexes, her complexes. One pays one's dear life for complexes, whole life. Anyway, now let's talk about a human being. He is also born as a baby. Like there, in a cow's case, it is born as a calf. Here it is born as a baby. And the physical body has to grow and definitely to get adult. Well, that's a life. So the very nature that has brought this body into existence, well, definitely takes care of its growth, physical growth. So the body should just keep living. And if a boy survives for a few years, well, he is ready to shape one day. Right? So physically one becomes mature immediately. He need not do anything special in order to grow beard. Right? So becomes an adult. But to become a graduate, well, one should definitely go to school, study, etc., gain knowledge. If one wants to become a swimmer, well, definitely you have to do nothing but swimming. One learns swimming by swimming. One become, right? You cannot by learning certain classes. A trainer comes and takes some classes like this, and then he says, "Okay, you have learned swimming. Now go." No, real learning. When you jump into that pool. So basically, well, if one wants to become swimmer, one has to swim. Put efforts. If one wants to become graduate, well, definitely one has to put efforts. Well, but I want to become physically adult, nothing much. Just living, eating, knocking around. And the person will grow and become adult, ready for marriage. This is how it is. So this is life. A human being will see physically grows, keeps eating, and knocks around and get married. Do you think this is living? Is this a goal of life? To become just physically mature? You said, Swami, living means growing, become an adult. Well, I have become physically adult. Do you think this is the goal of life? No. You won't say. So, this is not real living. So, definitely, it's just drag, in fact. Maturity for a human being is not just physical. It is also psychological. Psychological maturity, emotional maturity. In case of all other organisms, since they don't have a free will, they automatically grow become a physically mature as well as psychologically mature. Like cow example I given. In case of a human being, nature has brought this body into existence and therefore you physically become mature in no time, effortlessly almost. But psychological maturity you have to initiate because free will is given to you. The choice is given to you. Ishvara wants that you should initiate this growth. And growth is painful, always. Any growth is painful. If you join a gym, then you realize one wants to grow oneself physically. Biceps. 7, what is that? 8 packs, 9 packs, 7 packs, whatever. And my God, so much pain. That's how physical growth, it has not much pain. You keep eating and jumping around and one day you are ready with a mustache. But here, you don't initiate because growth is painful. And I will show you how much painful this emotional growth. And so you generally don't exercise your free will. And therefore physically you become adult. Emotionally, psychologically, person most of the time remains as a child. What is that? I will tell you. You don't like to hear this, but it says, Kathopanishad also says, Yamadharmaraja tells a person with a emotional immaturity is a bala child. So 50-year-old child, 60-year-old child. And we'll see, a child's perception continues. That's how it is. And so one has to become emotionally mature also. And one is one's emotion. When I relate to the world, an emotional being relates. And that is why whatever my learning, understanding is, does not seem to have any bearing upon my day-to-day responses to the world. That's how even people in the home also say, you are going to that Swami's class and you are learning all this Bhagavad Gita and all that, but in your behavior we don't find anything. Because you get angry. Emotional immaturity will be seen. You get angry, you are jealous, you compete with others, you have lots of insecurities, fears. Same thing. Child is also insecure. Child cries, child gets angry, I also. Same fellow continues inside. Body physically mature. So this is how this gap between one's understanding and the actual day-to-day living is a problem. The problem is emotional immaturity. This gap is expressed by Duryodhana. Janami dharmam nachame pravuttihi. Janami adharmam nachame nivrittihi. Kinapi margena hridhi sthitena. Yatha niyuktosmi tatha karomi. I know what is right. Janami dharmam. I know what is right. Nachame pravuttihi. But I can't pursue it. I don't become active into that. I don't pursue dharma. Right. Janami adharmam. I know what is wrong. Nachame nivritti. I can't desist from doing it. Kenapi margena hridhi sthitena. Well, there is, I do as directed by someone who seems to be within me. Kenapi margena hridhi sthitena. There is someone who is sitting inside who compels me, impels me to do wrong things, etc. Yatha niyuktosmi tatha karomi. And the same question in a different words asked by Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. He says, Athakena prayuktoyam papam charati purushaha anichannapi varshneya baladiva niyojitaha. Third chapter. The third chapter is 36th verse. Athakena prayuktoyam papam charati purushaha. Impelled by what? O Krishna, impelled by what does this man, the human being, commit sin? Papam charati, commit sin. Anicchanapi, even against his own wish. So, as though being impelled, balad eva niyojita, as though impelled by some force within, like Duryodhana, same thing. So, how is it that I behave in a given manner, even though I am not convinced of it? If I am convinced of a given thing, and if I behave, well, there is a harmony. I am convinced and I am doing harmony. But I am not convinced yet. There is some force within which impels me to do something other than what I am convinced of. Then there is a conflict. Yeah. Emotional immaturity. So the answer is one requires to be emotionally mature in order to be able to act according to one's conviction or according to what is right. Either. So, what is that, Swamiji? Why a human being has this kind of a suffering? Where the person behaves something and his understanding, his learning, either from spiritual institutions and all this, is one thing in his head, and when he behaves, responds to the world, it's quite different. Right? Quite contrary to what he has learned. So if the person is in conflict, creates conflict in others also. Yeah. Because you tell others that I'm learning Bhagavad Gita, and you study also a lot. In a home also you listen so many classes and everything. And she calls you that please go and bring this for first time. That's it. She says, I'm better that I'm not attending your Swami's class. You are not convinced. You are not convinced that you should get angry. In fact, you don't like to get angry. Yet you get angry. That is what Duryodhana said. That is something which makes you, which impels you to papam charati. Papam. In general, is a generic to papam. So it is really the childhood that makes the person what he or she is. This is psychologists also say, but we are very different. Don't differ from psychologists. So this is a very unfortunate situation that because no one is born as an adult and with an adult mind. So no one escapes from childhood and therefore no one escapes from child's perception. Because one is born as a child. As a child, I have a child's perception. And somehow that child's perception continues in an adult body also. You become physically adult, but perception of child continues. But Swamiji, what is child's perception? First tell us, we will not accept whatever you say. Well, a child's perception is a child's perception. We cannot call it childish because ultimately it is a child. We say he is a child. Therefore, he has this kind of perception. We say that. First thing, child feels insecure. Natural. We never complain, this child feels insecure. It's natural. Child's perception in his mind. What is child's perception about oneself? I'm insecure. Anything can become a threat to the child. So it is insecure about everything. So, and now the person grows. I was insecure as a child, and well, I do not fare much better now also as an adult also. Say the reason for insecurity will be different. Yeah, but insecurity continues. Child's perception about oneself that I'm insecure. The adult's perception about oneself is I'm insecure. Only body differs. Physical body differs. This fellow is adult. He is a child's one. That's it. Look at that. The second thing. Insecurity, we will be talking a little later. There is another thing also. Like, a child is given the parents give a clay doll sometime or a balloon kind of a thing. And it plays with that. And then it's a clay doll. The doll falls and breaks down. And the child cries. Why? Well, because emotionally it is not an adult. So it refuses to accept the fact that being made up of clay, it will break. But so it will break some other time. So definitely I will not call that child as childish because it's just a child. It has yet to become emotionally adult. It's not able to accept the fact that a clay doll, if it falls, it will break. Simple, right? So the second thing is non-acceptance, child's perception, non-acceptance or non-assimilation of a fact. Acceptance and assimilation are different things. You accept a fact and do something in that situation if you want to bring a change. That's called assimilation. You acceptance doesn't mean a passiveness, diffidence. No. Acceptance means definitely you acknowledge this is a thing and you can, if you want to do something, you do something in that without being swept off. Could you follow? Initially itself, let me tell you this. So acceptance of the fact, Swami. Then it is all diffidence, passiveness. No. You are alive to the facts, you are in the process of assimilating facts. In fact, you are able to do something in that situation to alter it. Suppose it is not a proper situation. Whatever you can do, you should do. You will not be swept off by your emotion because you already accepted, acknowledged the fact. This will not be possible in a child. Child will definitely cry. and if father gives another doll, right, the child insists that I want the same doll. Why should it complains also, why should my doll break? Well, why not my brother's doll or my sister's doll? They say also. So the father, the great wise man, our wise man, huh? The father, great wise man, says, that also is made up of clay. That also will break some other day. Wow. Now this boy, the child now 25 years later, working in an organization. He's adult now, young person, smart, handsome guy, and with a lot of education and whatnot, and also attending sometimes Bhagavad Gita classes. Yes. And so, and he worked hard, because we have to work hard through our ethics, etc. And he was working hard, and he was very happy. He got an extra increment. Wow! He was so happy. He called his wife and everything. And then later he learned that in the same department, finance department, the other colleague also was sitting. And he came to know that he got 2 increments within 1 promotion. That's it. Now the situation is of that dog kind of thing. You get a dog, you become happy. Dog breaks, you break. Child breaks, I was broken. I went to boss and asked for explanation. Why? I worked for you so much, worked for the organization so much. And this you are giving double increment to this person and also promotion. Well, boss explained he worked harder. You don't know. No, he also sits. I know that he also sits between 9 to 5. I also sit. Constantly I am also working. He's also working. What harder? You don't know. But the department has got a lot of advantages with his work, etc., with his inputs. And therefore, the management feels that he should be given a reward for that. No, I will not accept it. You resign and put yourself into mortar. Same child's perception. Non-acceptance of a fact. It's a fact that the person might have worked hard, or he might not have worked harder, but that the person has some other tricks by which he, sometimes pleases the management. That also is there. But it's a fact. At least let us acknowledge that such type of people are there. How to deal with it, that's a later thing. But non-acceptance. Immediately, you resign. Put yourself into it. So, it was same old child. You are given 1 chocolate, 1 increment. The brother is given, elder brother is given 2 chocolates, 2 increments. That's it. Even 1 I don't want now. Why 2? 1 also will throw. Same thing. That here chocolate, that job. Or increment. I don't want increment now. But we are giving you, we are happy with you. No, but I don't want even a single increment now. So as a child, look, third thing now, child's perception. As a child, insecurity. It's a second only, but I explain you how it occurs. You see, when a child is insecure, then as a child, what you do? When my schoolmate had something I did not have, then I felt jealous. The thing for which I have a certain value, I don't have, but someone has. I feel jealous. And when I had something and my schoolmate did not have that thing, well, I hold on to it. Right? Because my whole insecurity is in this. I hold on to it. Even though somebody says, you have more, beta, please give. We should always give. We should contribute. We should be helpful to others. Parents say sometimes, no, it's mine. I will not give. My whole security is in that thing. So no one basically criticizes a child Means insecurity is there. And right now also I have not with respect to a toy or with respect to chocolates which I share with others. I could not share. Now it's something else. As an adult, I also hold on to many things. May not be chocolate, may not be toys, right? Something else. So the child's perception continues in a human being, human adult, which is not the case with any other living organism. That's how we have a talk, emotional maturity. Otherwise, why? Right? Otherwise, some cows and buffaloes also should come home. We also want to listen. We also want to be mature. No. Because that free will is there. So you have to initiate this growth. Anyway, so no one criticizes a child because a child is accepted as a child. People are very kind and understanding, hoping that one day the child will become an adult. Not merely physically, but emotionally also. Everyone tells each other, he's immature, Swami. He's immature. As if he is at the higher level of maturity. Since I am grown up now, I do not weep when a toy breaks, but when a mobile breaks, definitely I will weep. My heart also breaks naturally because I am still a child. Non-acceptance. When it breaks the heart means it's a reality. I can't accept it. That my mobile can break. No. My toy can break, I can't accept it. Why not my brother's toy? Same thing. Same attitude. So if a toy does not upset me, it can be something else as an adult, someone else also. Something or someone. Something else disturb. So I lose my job, lose my hair, or find my hair turning into grey. All non-acceptance. A single hair turns grey. One day you get up in the morning and you find it happened to one Miss Universe before a few years. There was a time when for 2 years or 3 consecutive years, Miss Universe was from India, including our Susmita Sen and other. And one of them, I don't remember but one of them got up. She was living in Mumbai, and she got up in her flat in the morning and went to bathroom, and she saw in the mirror one hair turned grey. That's it. She was so upset, almost a depression stage. She pulled it up. After 3 days, 7. And person like me with hair are going away. You try to retain it, you cannot retain it. All these things happen. So all basically, for a child it is something else, but as an adult also there is non-acceptance of the facts, etc. continues. So definitely, how many of the things in the world which are unpleasant in my life, which happens in my life, well, I am able to accept gracefully, without murmur. Nothing, in fact, almost none. So I am also like child, emotionally immature. What are the reasons we'll be seeing? Nothing to worry about. But this is what is emotional immaturity I am talking to. So we also seem to remain insecure, immature. And the third thing in child's perception is a helplessness. Helplessness. Child is helpless, naturally. And right now also I feel helpless when my emotion get burst. Like no one becomes consciously angry. And no one decides to get angry. If I tell you that for 2 minutes, all of you become angry. No one is becoming angry. Everyone is a saint. Everyone can go away from here that we are free from anger. That's not the case. You cannot become angry consciously, deliberately. You cannot decide to become angry. Anger happens. Anger happens. So, we do find ourselves getting angry because anger happens, and it doesn't go away just because you do this or that. keeps coming. Helplessness. In fact, all this we call reactions. Vindictiveness, anger, sadness. The definition of this reaction is this: what I don't want from others, what others do not want from me, and perhaps what I don't want from myself also. Such a behavior is called reaction. Anger is something, in anger you behave a certain way. So I will call it as a behavior. So it's a behavior which you don't want from others, first. Neither others want from you, right? And perhaps you don't want from yourself also. That's how people, after getting angry, they repent also. Because you also don't want to be, but you happen to get it. Helplessness. Child, helplessness. He gets angry, you don't, parents won't say much. Oh, it's a child. He does. Or she does, whatever. But in an adult, same situation. So no one wants to become sad. One finds oneself become sad. No one wants to become depressed. One finds oneself depressed. So this helplessness is called emotional immaturity. So three things I have told, which is there in child's perception. In a child's perception, there is helplessness. In fact, human child is totally helpless. A human child is born, and if it is left there, it will die. A calf is born, will not die. It will just get up and immediately starts taking milk from the, udders of the cow. But a human child, unless the mother takes, will not. Totally helplessness. Amazing thing it is. No other organism. We generally see this National Geographic, they show varieties of and all organisms, any beast or anything, they are born, and within no time they get up and start living, eating food, etc. They start. A human child is born and left there, dies. A total helplessness. Therefore, in child's perception, there is helplessness. In fact, that's how, due to helplessness, he looks upon the parents as the God. Oh, my parents are walking. My God, I'm not able to walk. My parents are talking. What is this talk? Something amazing. So, like in a child's perception, the parents are gods, literally. More the helplessness, more the trust outside. That's how there is a total trust in parents. Total trust. Like we have trust in Ishvara, same kind of trust. And looking upon them as God. But they prove that they are not God. Right? Mother screams, looking at a cockroach. That's it, child says, yeah, I thought she's all power. And she's calling father, and the child is seeing everything. And father also comes, and father is a God. You just lift the cockroach. But now lizard comes. And he starts screaming. That's it. The violation of the trust in a child remains. The search for a total trust continues. It just continues. That's how everyone says, Swami, I'm really looking for a person who is totally trustworthy, where I can put my trust totally. Everyone is looking for. Because everywhere your trust gets violated, here and there. Ishwar, I don't, but anyway, I don't want to talk into it, but that is how one can lead oneself to one's life towards Ishwar, who is order, which never fails. Anyway. So total helplessness also is a child's perception. It's emotional immaturity. And world of adult is entirely different. Ready to share, ready to contribute, because insecurity is less. And helplessness is less, supposedly, and acceptance of facts is called emotionally adult. If physically adult becomes emotionally adult. But generally, the child's perception forms the very personality of the adult, the self-image of the adult, and it vitiates the perception of the adult. That's how he looks he looks to the world not as it is. We'll be discussing in next class also. He doesn't look the world as it is. He looks the world through his insecurities and helplessness and anxieties, etc. Everyone, every person, every adult looks the world not as it is. It vitiates the perception of the adult. It vitiates the responses of his or her to the world. That's how I said, the emotionally immature person's response to the world is entirely different. Whatever he is learning in his mind, all this learning may be there, still it doesn't have any bearing when he responds to the world. It's same emotionally immature. Because when one responds to the world, is one's own emotion. Emotional person only responds, and if it is emotionally immature, then definitely it vitiates the perception also, and therefore if it vitiates the perception, definitely the responses will be different. Yeah, we'll be seeing that. So, that's how I said they will remain as they are, all these things, no matter what we learn, what in our life, what we become in our life. So can you avoid these unpleasant situations in life which we generally don't accept? Can you command an agreeable situation all the time? Do you call all the shots in your life? You do not. Situations keep varying, changing, like traffic. Sometimes unpleasant, messy, and we do not know even to get out of that. Such a situation comes. Sometimes pleasant also. So the life is nothing but this changing, varying situations, and we have to face them, and I only have to face them. And that child's perception is, I don't want to face certain facts, etc. So to begin my living, I must be a complete person. Complete person is physically adult, also emotionally adult. That is called a complete person, a mature person. And that is what is expected. A qualified person for Vedanta, gain self-knowledge, is this first level of maturity. A physically adult, of course, fine, but with an emotional maturity. That person is a mature person. That is where also Vedanta can help, but that person can gain moksha. He is a prepared person. So Vedanta not only says, our doors are closed, it is only open for the emotionally mature people. No. How to gain emotional maturity also is a part of Vedanta. That's where Bhagavad Gita helps, and we'll be talking. So, Arjuna's identification. Now, we can give the example of Arjuna's example. And in his case also, his identification with the opponents as mine, he was telling everywhere, my guru, my this, and my brothers, etc., etc. His fears, his incapacity to appreciate the facts, etc., all these were expression of an immature mind. He was very mature in other aspects, but in this aspect, psychological aspects, emotional aspect, he was not. Definitely not. And that is how Bhagavan addressed that issue also, made him emotionally mature, and then gave knowledge also, self-knowledge, etc. And ultimately, Arjuna told that, oh Lord, whatever you say, I will do it. I will take up the Gandiva and fight. Earlier he was not ready to fight. It was a non-acceptance of fact. He has to fight, but he was not ready. So his child's perception was changed, and he was ready to fight. Karishye vachanam tava. I am ready to fight. Whatever you say, I will do it. Yes, I will fight. So a mature person is one who first accepts the fact and become alive to the facts. Every person is designed to become a mature. And now, in order to get that maturity, the beautiful design is there, grand design. First, I will talk about that, and then also in second class, we'll talk about the reasons for emotional immaturity. If I have time permits, I will start that also. But before that, I would like to give a grand design of the Veda, which helps you. If you are in that scheme, you automatically become emotionally mature, and that scheme is a Varnashrama scheme. Yeah. And it is meant to make a person mature. I will be talking to that. And then, of course, a study of Vedanta also help to make ultimately a totally mature. Total mature person means now no more growth. Once you know that you are whole, where is growth? You are whole. There is no further growth. Yeah, you need not grow because you have grown now. That's the thing. But before that, relative maturity, relative growth also has been addressed. So a mature person is one who first accepts fact and becomes alive to facts. So this vanity, this pretentiousness, cruelty, even those also exhibit an immature mind. Idi Amin or even our Hitler, all this were basically emotionally immature people. Any dictator, etc. So a person who develops a national ego, a community ego, or a religious ego, a social ego, etc., they are mature people. And there is nothing but clash when there is ego. So there is no problem in the world except immaturity. That's the thing. Now I will talk about this Varnashrama scheme, how it helps to become emotionally mature, if one follows that. In principle, as such it will become defunct, etc. But it has a skeletal existence, but I will tell you that. So in principle, but first is this grand design Varnashrama scheme, basically it has two things. It has a Varna scheme and a Ashrama scheme. And Varna scheme, here Varna means basically a classification of the human society. Swamiji, that is where the problem is. That is where discrimination starts. But classification of human society is done in many ways. There are several types of, they do surveys. Various surveys they do. Then they age-wise, they divide. Then the sex-wise, they divide. Education-wise, they divide. Language-wise, they all this on basis, they definitely do several surveys. And for that, they have to classify. Classification is done. So any classification is done is based on with a certain standpoint. Certain standpoint. This classification is also Varna scheme. This is also a classification of the human society, irrespective of any nation, irrespective of any religion. Yeah. And it is based on three things, in which one thing is, of course, not correct, but other two things are there, which I will be talking to that. So this is one Varna scheme. And basically it is meant for what? That scheme is meant for what? Scheme should be for benefit, yeah. This is for benefit. To bring a social harmony between various groups of the human beings, ultimately to bring the social harmony. So that is the first. Then the second is a ashrama scheme. Various stages of life in an individual, various stages of life will bring a growth, emotional growth in the person. So these two schemes are there. We generally call as a Varnashrama scheme as a Vishesha Dharma, a specific discipline. Discipline is meant for growth. So Dharma means here duty, discipline, etc. Vishesha Dharma means a specific discipline based on ashrama, the stage of life, or based on a certain group of people. Certain group of people, definitely they have certain disciplines to follow, certain duties to follow. If they fall into that scheme, automatically they will grow emotionally. Automatically. It is a grand design. Grand design. Unfortunately, our Varnashrama scheme, in that especially Varna scheme, has been classified as has been branded as a notorious caste system. That's a wrong thing. That's a wrong thing. I will explain you that. Anyway, and in ashramas, I told you 4 stages. This is brahmacharya ashrama, student's life, and then and active life, and ultimately hermit's life, etc. So that also we'll see. So these are all a particular specific disciplines. If you follow one ashrama, then you automatically, as a disciplined person, you grow, become emotionally mature. That is one. Second is a certain samanya dharma. Samanya dharma means universal, general disciplines for any being, human being. Even if you follow that, well, you will start growing emotionally. And we call it as a samanya dharma. Very simple, very simple. Initially, you may find it a little difficult, but once you start following it, then you will really love it. So, this Samanya Dharma, general disciplines, very well known in the Yoga Shastra, Patanjali Yoga, and that is Yama and Niyama. Certain don'ts and certain do's. I mean, the don'ts means you should not do that. And if you don't do that, you automatically grow. Certain do's are there. These are the things to be done. And you do it. You automatically grow. Could you follow? That is what it is. Applicable to every human being, irrespective of the group of the people or irrespective of the stage of the life. That's how it is. So, they call it Yama and Niyama. And Yama means this don'ts. Well, definitely, they are ahimsa, satyam, asteyam, brahmacharyam and aparigraha. So yamas basically they call it as a nivritti rupa. Nivritti rupa means, yamas means don'ts, means what? You should avoid them. They must be avoided. And niyamas are pravritti rupa, means you should positively do. That's a niyama. First we'll talk about yama. So ahimsa, satyam, asteyam, brahmacharya and aparigraha. Ahimsa means, well, what? Here our Yama. Yama means don'ts, means you should avoid. So, non-violence. Ahimsa means non-violence. Means avoidance of harming others. Avoidance of harming others by thought, word and deed. So, you are not doing anything positively here. You are only avoiding harming others. Living a little alert life. Yeah. This is one. Second is Satyam. Here also you are not, Satyam means positively keep saying truth everywhere. No. So you are not doing something positive here. Here also is simply avoiding telling untruth. You need not tell whatever you know in the name of truth. Dangerous. Yeah, dangerous. Person is on deathbed, he has a terminal cancer and he is very emotionally fragile person, and doctor said you don't tell the person. No. And you are your relative, his relative, and I'm talking to you that he is having a terminal cancer, he may survive for a few days, but don't talk to him. But I have learned Satyam. So you go and tell him. Satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat, ahitam bruyat. Satyam api apriyam na bruyat. Manusmriti told very clearly, Satyam api apriyam na bruyat. Don't say. If it is the person is not able to stand that Satyam, don't say that. So Satyam has been said as avoiding untruth. So either I speak the truth or I observe silence. That's how some people observe silence. When you ask something, and suppose the reply is going to come and that you will not be able to stand it, then they keep silence. That's good. If a person is ready to, well, he says, no, I'm ready to face whatever is truth about me. But, so-and-so is speaking something, so-and-so is speaking something for me. And you were talking to him. What was he telling? Yes. You because that person must have told something very bad for the other person. You don't want to say because to harm others, right? Ahimsa. But this person says, let him tell anything, but you tell me what he is telling. No, he is criticizing. Forget about it. People always, no, I want to know. Then you say, I want to know. Then you say, but otherwise keep mum. So Satyam means it's not telling positively truth, avoiding untruth. That's the thing. Avoidance of asatyam is satyam. Third is asteyam. So, resisting of holding others' wealth. Others' wealth. You have eye on them, their wealth. Resistance. So, it's all avoiding that holding attitude. Then brahmacharya. This is also an avoidance. We don't do anything. Avoidance of illegitimate relationship with opposite sex. And fifth is aparigraha. Avoidance of possession of too much wealth. Or avoidance of hoarding of one's own wealth, excess. Do you follow? So, asteyam means avoidance of hoarding of others' wealth. And aparigraha means avoidance of hoarding of one's own excess wealth, even though it is legitimate. Too much hoarding indicates insecurity, definitely. Definitely. Child's perception. Think. Anyway, so these are niyamas, don'ts. And 5 niyamas are there. And that is shaucham, santoshaha, tapaha, swadhyayaha, ishwar pranidhana. Shaucham, purity. Purity are of two types. So, physical purity and which we call hygiene. Keeping your body clean and, nail, hair, etc., teeth, keeping. And where you live, that surrounding, in your home, etc., keep the things clean. Where you study, where you eat. This is all personal hygiene kind of a thing. And second is a mental purity. Yeah. You work positively in order to, there are meditations. If a time permits, I will talk about that meditation which can help you a day-to-day cleaning of a mind. Or else raise as a question in a satsanga, I will talk about it. Okay. So, because this is a flow going on and then I don't want to divert to meditation. So, shaucham. Then santosha is also positively. So, shaucham means purity. Means you have to do something in order for personal hygiene or for mental purity, right? So, it's a niyama. Then santosha means positively developing a sense of contentment. So in Bhajagovinda very beautifully said, Budajahi dhanagama trushna kuru sadbuddhim manasivi trushna yellavase nija karmopartam vittam tena vinodaya chittam. Acharya himself said, vittam tena vinodaya chittam. Whatever the vittam which you have, money which you have earned, tena vinodaya, content. So learn to develop a positive sense of contentment. Because any amount you get, if you are a seeker of a wealth, you will always remain as a seeker. Yeah. If you are a seeker of a security through the wealth, you will remain definitely always a seeker. Always a seeker. Yeah. If you are a seeker of a security through money, we are seeking for security. Whether money has security or not, that's another thing. If money has a security, means money is a source of security, then you need not secure money. But then you have to take care of your money. If you don't take care of your money, money becomes insecure. It will go away. Say tata to you. Yeah. Then what is source of insecurity? How can it give a security to you? Could you follow? Simple thing. If money is a source of security, you should not worry about the money. When you come here, you should not tell to money, you are secure, nobody is going to take you. No, we are going for 2 days. Let us keep the things properly. You feel that will go away. Somebody steals, etc. Money itself is insecure. How can it become a source of security? No, but Swamiji, I'm insecure, money is insecure, two insecure get together, become secure. Hey, it's a double insecurity. That's how more money brings more insecurity. You and me may not have that much insecurity, but more money, my God. They have security staff also. Yeah. Security guards. Yeah. Hey, you have money, you need not keep security guards. No. This is the thing we have to learn. These are the things from Bhagavad Gita. That's how our mind is not with us. Bhagavan says, very beautifully, Chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramati balavad dhrudam. So Arjuna says, well, my mind is so agile, agitated. Then how can I make it so calm and all that? Bhagavan said, asamshayam. Asamshayam mahabaho manodul nigraham chalam. Abhyasare tu kaunteya vairagyena chagrahite. Asamshayam. Mind is agitated. Agitation means mind. I have made it like that. And there is nothing wrong. Mind which jumps around is a healthy mind. Like a jumping around monkey is a healthy monkey. If a monkey sits in one branch for more than half an hour or 1 hour, you should think that it is really a sick monkey. Yeah. Mind is meant to run. I am talking so much in 1 hour. Various topics, various things I am saying, various words I am using. Your mind is going around. Healthy mind. If I come here and it starts with Sahana Bhavatu and your mind gets stuck into that Sahana Bhavatu for the whole hour. Gone. Right? Nothing enters into that. Asamshayam, Bhagavan said. Beautiful. Yes, I have made the mind like that. It has to jump around. It has to think of various things naturally. But when you want your mind to help you in a study, etc., it should give a support. If it is not giving a support, matter of complaint. Why it is running here and there, even when I want my mind to be here and right now? Bhagavan said, because it is going in a direction where it finds a source of security, source of joy, etc., or it goes in another direction, a source of pain. Source of pleasure and source of pain, mind always runs in these two directions. And therefore, because of superimposing, etc., therefore, vairagyena, Bhagavan said. Vairagya. Vairagya means a very healthy attitude for the things, where you know the value, objective value of the objects. You don't superimpose extra value on any object, any given thing, etc. So this is how, here now, so santosha. And too much I gave on this. Anyway, tapas. This also, willful self-denial. Means to avoid slavery of our own sense organs. You have to do positively. You cannot avoid it. Because sense organs keep asking few things, They want to run away here and there towards sense objects, etc. And sometimes you have to say no. Because certain things are not good for your health, mental health, physical health, and you have to definitely have a say over that, your own sense organs. So that willful self-denial, which we call it as a tapas. Yeah. So just in order to make sure that I'm in charge of my sense organs, they are not, basically have a say over me, etc. And the fourth is a swadhyaya. Swadhyaya means study of our scriptures, especially Parayana, etc. So knowing the meaning or without knowing the meaning, Parayana is considered to be a positive discipline. But thus, it's not an avoiding, but it is doing something positively. Parayana. And the last one is Ishwar Pranidhanam, means worship of the Lord. Either physical worship in terms of puja, etc., or at the level of speech, chanting, etc., or meditations, japa, etc., mentally. So that also is there. So these things are, the Samanya Dharma also, this Yama and Niyama, if one starts following, one is growing. Physically mature you already are, but you grow internally. You become a Brahmana. We'll talk about it. So, disposition-wise, you become a Brahmana, which is most desirable thing. Sattva predominant. When Sattva becomes predominant, you are ready for the knowledge. Sattvat sanjayate jnana. When sattva is predominant, automatically there is a desire for the knowledge. You are ready for the self-knowledge. Gain knowledge and gain freedom. That's the thing. And then Vishesha Dharma, etc. Varnashram Dharma, Vishesha Dharma, I will talk in the evening. And also we'll start why I am emotionally immature. What is the reason? First we should know. And the solution given by Bhagavad Gita also we'll discuss from making ourselves free from that. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.